Snyder as he leads us in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you need anything, holler.
Thank you, Mr. Snyder. We have several
That's
tonight.
probably.
Hello, under the
You don't know. You never know.
the rules for open meeting says that we'll listen.
Who's talking?
The board can't comment during this section.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So if we don't say anything to you, then we're just following the law. But we will listen.
He fell again.
Tim,
No. Rick and all of them was that there.
5 minutes.
They were out on the front porch.
Here, we'll keep an eye on that, and if you would respect that time, we'd
Just in case that,
buzzer go off.
just in case we heard it from somebody else.
10 or 15 seconds if you would. So we'll try to get everyone, we will get everyone that wants to speak who signed in to talk. And at this time, I'm going to call Jenny Perry to come to the podium and address the board.
Good evening. Good evening. I know I get you to talk. I know some of you are retired educators, and this will come to no surprise what I'm going to say about the importance of social workers within our schools. For many years, schools relied solely on teachers, administrators, and counselors to promote and/or help with students that were having emotional turmoil or experiences in their lives. It could be from hunger, environmental factors such as remote locations and couldn't attend events, bullying, and so forth. However, in today's world, the mental and emotional state of some students are going beyond what some teachers are trained for. And at times, the trained counselor is so overloaded with academic and other school-related and emotional and mental situations in students that they cannot oversee all of those cases in a timely manner. I do want to note, we have exceptional counselors within our schools. We just don't have enough. The social worker in my school, Kelly Cadd, helps and promotes students' development and learning in which she collaborates with families, community resources, and the school staff to promote resiliency with our students, as well as responding to their needs with an on-the-spot type of action. Many times in my own classroom, I had to call upon Ms. Cadd to promptly take care of a child's mental and emotional state. Sometimes she was more trained than I. It is so assuring to myself, students, families to know that this support exists within our schools. At one point in my teaching career, we would rely on certain agencies to help our students, but sometimes time is of essence and needs to be dealt with on the spot, right then and there. Ms. Cadd provides such that need, and in that timely manner as well. In the last 5 to 7 years, I can say as a veteran educator that more stresses are being seen on students on such a large scale, not just in middle, not just in high school, it's rampant in our young people. I'm urging the Board of Education and Central Office look strongly into funding to keep our social workers. As stated before, I'm a veteran teacher. I know how funding works. I know many teachers and programs are sometimes paid out of certain state and federal money. However, there are a multitude of grants floating around, and we may be just a good recipient for some of those. I am a teacher, as stated previously, so my research on grants are really not my forte. However, I'm sure someone on the Board of Education or in Central Office are more equipped to deal with that than myself. Here are a few that I researched on the United States educational site dealing with mental health and social workers. They're as followed: School Mental Health Service Grant, the Mental Health Service Professional Demonstrations Grant Program, and the Stronger Connections Grant are just a few I read over. I want to thank you for your time, and as an educator and parent of children of Lincoln County, I hope this situation has found merit to seek out additional funding. Have a good evening. Thank you.
I thought it was just me. I couldn't hear very well. Laura McComas.
Hello and good evening, or good afternoon. I'm here today to speak on behalf of the social workers in our Lincoln County school system. More specifically, Miss Missy Hoover of the West Hamlin Elementary School. I have a 9-year-old granddaughter in West Hamlin, and not only is she very upset about Miss Missy not being there next school year, she was upset enough to not be able to be here today on behalf of Miss Missy, whom she loves very dearly. On January 27th of this year, we had a house fire. Thankfully, we didn't lose many material things, but we did, however, lose aspects of my granddaughter's life. She was terrified to sleep on her own, to even enter her room that she used to call her own. And she was terrified to even talk about the fire because it happened outside her bedroom window on our porch, which is on the other side of the wall of her room. Miss Missy was there to help her through things while at school. Indeed, Miss Missy Hoover, in my eyes, excuse me, was an integral part of getting my granddaughter's life back to some sort of normalcy. Without Miss Missy at school, I am positive that Aislinn, my granddaughter, would still be struggling to adapt to the life after the fire. Because of Miss Missy Hoover, my granddaughter's life is almost back to what it was before the fire. I am also positive that Aislinn is not the only child that Miss Missy has helped stop struggling with this thing or that thing that regular people just don't see as happening. In closing, I want to say that having the social workers in our school is a positive and endlessly helpful thing for all of our students. Please don't take that away from them. They desperately need Miss Missy Hoover and the rest of the social workers in every other school to go to when they have no one else they can talk to. She is loved, she is important, and most of all, in a world like the one we live in today, she is indeed desperately needed. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. McComas. Name from the past, Pam Dice. Pam Dice.
She just stepped down.
Okay, well, we'll come back to her if she's later on. We'll put it at the bottom of the list. Melissa Schroeder.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to preface this by saying we also have an excellent counselor. However, we have over 470 students in our school, and we have a counselor 2 days a week if there's not an emergency at our other school. I think we can all agree that's not adequate for a school of our size. I also will say I'm a little more of the tough love school of thought than our previous two speakers, so I won't apologize for this. Just here we go. As the 5th grade team leader of West Hamlin Elementary, I'm writing this letter on behalf of our students, myself, and my teammates, Barb Simpkins and Rebecca Roy. We're shattered, as we are sure our fellow teachers at other schools are, at the loss of our school's social workers. Miss Missy Hoover's departure at West Hamlin Elementary will leave an unfillable void to not only the faculty and staff, but to our community as a whole. Her absence will, however, be devastating and unbearable to our students. The very students you vowed to prioritize in your mantra of putting kids first. This does not still apply. Clearly, data is an important tool in today's world and in decision making. In fact, it's so prevalent that it's easy to get wrapped up in data and numbers and forget that we're actually in the people business. We work with children and families, not numbers. We are active parts of our community. Just this past year, social workers were written into the Lincoln County Schools strategic plan as a necessity in every school. What has changed to negate that need? Nothing. In a perfect world, we would have no societal problems, but we all know this is not a perfect world. Our social workers help students deal with the fallout of our community's problems. And according to this article published by WestVirginiaKidsCount.org, and I have the articles here, West Virginia is the leading state in the nation for children born addicted to opioids. In West Virginia, Lincoln County ranks #1 in the state. So let that sink in. Lincoln County, West Virginia ranks #1 in the nation of children being born addicted to opioids. The children bring a wide range of problems to the table in regards to their education. Social workers not only help these children in the day-to-day life at school, but also their families by offering referrals to support programs and to the education needed to break this cycle. Those of us working in schools day in and day out, we're not unrealistic. We understand far better than anyone that it takes money to run a school system. We know there are bills to pay. We see children every day whose families struggle to pay their bills. They need help to find food or adequate clothing for the weather. Mrs. Hoover and the other social workers help their families with that. We see families struggle to pay their utilities. Mrs. Hoover helps find programs to assist them. If you need a Thanksgiving meal or Christmas presents for your children, she has you covered. I personally witnessed Mrs. Hoover help grandparents with reading difficulties fill out paperwork when they were unable to read. She's advocated for our children that were being abused in unthinkable ways, and I have no doubt that she has saved lives and their sanity. And during COVID, she gave her personal phone number to over 475 families so that they could reach out if they needed help when the schools were shut down. How many of you did that? Can we put a price on that? This may sound harsh, but often the truth hurts when it hits close to home. Many of those making the crucial decisions to remove our social workers as cost-saving measures have not visited West Hamlin Elementary and met the students whose lives you will irrevocably change. We've had a couple of walkthroughs in which the same people have observed a snippet of our classrooms for a few minutes at a time. Our 5th graders invited every board member and nearly everyone at the central office by letter to events in our school, and less than 5 people made an appearance. I use that example not to embarrass anyone, but just to lay down facts. No one knows our children well enough in our schools to make decisions about their daily needs, except the people that spend their days with them. No one knows our social workers well enough to see the impact they have on our schools, except the students, the families, and the faculty members, including the social workers themselves. I would like to paint a picture for you of some of the issues that have occurred just in the 5th grade this year through the eyes and the words of some of our students. The first student quotes, "I had a house fire and she got me some clothes and that helped me so much." Next, "She always has your back." "You should not get rid of Mrs. Missy because she gave me food when I could have got flooded. This child's willing to send back all the iPads in order to fund the social workers. When I was in 2nd grade, the sole of my shoe fell off and Miss Missy gave me new shoes. This child still remembers that memory from 2nd grade. This child asked, why are you saving money and not our lives? Without Mrs. Missy, the school would not be what it is today. I go home happy because I got food bags. I can bring food to my family and they are thankful. I trust her. Some people are scared to know what their parents think. Thank you for helping me with my suicide thoughts and helping me when I am sad. These children are 10 years old, and it was such a problem that we had to have a whole group discussion about suicide, and she handed out suicide help hotline numbers."
Ma'am, you're well over your 5 minutes.
Thank you for your time.
I appreciate your comments, and I hate to cut you short, but
I understand. Thank you for your time.
thank you. Rebecca Roy.
I am presenting a letter from one of our grandparents from West Hamlin Elementary. I'm a 5th grade teacher as well. To whom it may concern, I'm a grandparent who has adopted 2 grandchildren. The oldest started at West Hamlin Elementary in the 2nd grade and is now in the 6th grade. The youngest is in pre-K. The oldest is on the autism spectrum, unspecified anxiety and trauma. The youngest has ADHD and unspecified anxiety. Missy Hoover has been an invaluable support for myself, telling me what the school system has for interim support before and during COVID. Without her knowledge of mental needs, variety of resources in and out of the school system during his transitions to West Hamlin Elementary and during COVID, then going back to school full time, he would have been hospitalized or worse. I have also had to talk with her on ways to help the younger child. She has directed me to several books to help me understand and deal with him in a more positive manner. With as many grandfamilies raising children with such a large spectrum of mental needs, how can you justify terminating the position of someone with the knowledge, connections, compassion, and understanding that they need? These children and the adults who care for them need someone who is non-judgmental for guidance and for some help to get them out of abusive situations. Missy makes herself available year-round and at all times. The teachers are doing all that is humanly possible, trying to teach and understand 20 to 25 different personalities and how to best reach them every day. The children need a safe place to talk to someone who they have grown to know and trust. They need someone that they can talk to and feel safe. For too many children, that place is Missy Hoover's office. It's an injustice to students and staff to remove Missy Hoover from West Hamlin Elementary. Thank you for your time, Ms. Easter Carter.
Thank you, Ms. Roy. Tom Scarpolini.
I'm Tom Scarpolini. I'm the juvenile probation officer for the county. I've been the juvenile probation officer for well over 30 years. And as a juvenile probation officer, my job is to deal with the kids that get in trouble with the law, whether it's truancy or something simple that we can deal with that way, not that simple, up to serious crimes, including kids that have killed other kids and stuff at one time or another. So I get around, I've been to the schools, and I've known a lot of you for a lot of years. When I first started probation, I used to visit a lot of community schools around here, places with names like Garrett's Bend and Woodville and McCorkle and Midkiff and Big Ugly and Farrellsburg, as well as many others, and 4 different middle school and high schools. These were small community schools, and families tended to know the schools, know the teachers, know the staff, were supportive of the staff. Chances are that the parents went to those schools themselves. At that time, most parents or kids lived with 2 natural parents. It was the unusual child that didn't live with their parents. And, you know, at school, kids were taught things like what to do in case of a storm, to how to get to a safe part of the school. They weren't talked to about things like school shootings, terrorism, and some of the things we're dealing with now. Families were encouraged to vaccinate their kids and take care of those kind of things. Nobody had fears of things like COVID and what it was going to do to their family. Situations change now, good or bad. Our schools do more and are expected to do more and take over many parenting responsibilities that families took care of in the past. Schools now provide meals and snacks, even send home food with children on weekends and extended breaks. They're expected to teach manners and respect, words like conduct and discipline. Pens and papers, iPads, other supplies, and even clothing are supplied by the schools. Preschool and full-time kindergarten have now been the norm, putting younger kids in school for much longer periods of time, and very young kids on school buses for long distances to schools that their families don't really have a whole lot of connection to. Few children I deal with anymore live with both natural parents. It's actually the exceptional child that does. Many more children are being raised by grandparents or aunts or uncles or friends of the family or in foster care. Children are no longer raised in a family, in church or in the community, and they aren't taught respect for their peers and their parents, for their teachers, their principal, law enforcement, or even the courts. Social workers. I deal with a lot of social workers, and I was contacted by several social workers about this meeting. As a society, we've had many programs and many great grants and other things go through our schools throughout the years. Some programs better than others, but we've had programs that dealt with smoking and drugs and alcohol and teen pregnancy and other numerous things throughout the years. Unfortunately, most of these programs were grant funded, and after 3 to 5 years, even a good program tended to go away. This is Lincoln County. We don't have a whole lot of resources. And even good programs were hard to pick up, though I know the school systems tried their best in the past. Unfortunately, those cycles go and come, and I understand money. And I understand how resources are needed to be allocated and how tough decisions need to be made. And unfortunately, a lot of those decisions are going to be on your guys' shoulders now and in the future. I see the social workers in our schools have done a tremendous amount of good to help our we do have good counselors, and I've heard other people mention that. But I see our social workers mainly as a bridge between the school and the community with the homes. A lot of our kids don't go to those local schools anymore. And these are the people that are making the calls, wanting to know why your child isn't in school, asking a family if there's something that needs to be done. What can they do to have that child be successful in school? Families have a lot of traditional roadblocks, such as food, clothing, housing, transportation, but also new issues that I hear about all the time in my office, such as internet access. How do you use that iPad, and how do you figure that out? What are all these COVID rules that we've been struggling with, and when am I supposed to go to school, and when am I supposed to keep my child home? Families need a caring face. And that's what these social workers provide. Sometimes principals and even counselors can be intimidating to kids, but these social workers are a friendly face. Through my work, I encounter social workers at school. I run into them at homes, in court, and sadly, I've run into them at funeral homes. I know that if you talk to Don Davis, our attendance director, he'll agree that our attendance is much better now with social workers involved in doing these programs. Actually, these kids being in the school and their attendance and not going on homeschool, which is a disaster, is actually bringing money into the county for having theirs. In closing, I just want to reiterate that I understand funding. I've seen many good programs come and go, but social workers are in one program that ending would be a big mistake. We're now starting to recover from a couple years where our children received very little education due to COVID, and we're going to be suffering that for a long time. Our test scores are down. Our families are getting readjusted to sending kids to school buildings. Now is not the time to cut programs like our social workers.
Thank you.
Take just a second and not talk about the issue at hand, but I want to talk about Mr. Tom Scarpellini for a moment. When I was principal, many times I got down to no more options left except for one, and that was Tom Scarpellini. And he never failed me one time, or the kids that he was working with. And he did a bang-up job, and if there's ever anybody in the county that's earned their money and deserves the respect of the citizens, it's Tom Scarpellini. So thank you, Tom.
Thanks, David.
Kelsey Gable, did I get that right?
Board members and members of the Lincoln County community. My name is Kelsey Gable, and I've been teaching in Lincoln County for 13 years and at West Hamlin Elementary for the last 3 years. I'm here to speak on the issue of terminating our school social workers, and specifically our wonderful social worker, Missy Hoover. During the last 3 years, I have been able to see Miss Hoover serve not only the students of West Hamlin Elementary, but their families as well. I've personally witnessed Mrs. Hoover help students who are struggling with physical, mental, and sexual abuse. She has been able to provide them with counseling, contact the appropriate services, and provide them with strategies to help cope with the trauma that comes with said abuse. She has a wonderful rapport with the student body that takes a long time to establish. She is also involved in our PBIS program by offering lessons on character education and how to be a well-rounded, successful individual. Mrs. Hoover has also been instrumental in helping the families of our students. I have witnessed her help parents who are struggling to obtain working utilities such as heat, electric, and water. She organizes our weekend backpack program, which supplies our students and their siblings with food to eat over the weekends. She also helps out families who may be struggling around the holidays by providing meals or presents at Christmas. These are all things that I have witnessed with my own eyes. I am just one individual. I stand here today to share not only what I have witnessed, but to speak on behalf of my students. I would now like for you to hear some of the stories from my students on why they believe funding should be found to keep Mrs. Hoover. I asked my 4th grade students to share why Ms. Hoover is important to our school. Here are some excerpts from some of their responses. From my heart to the moon and back, she needs to stay. Miss Missy is my best friend. Miss Missy takes care of stuff at home like clothing, food, relationships, and safety. I strongly believe that Miss Missy should stay. Miss Missy helped me not kill myself. She helps me with my anxiety and my depression and my anger. She makes me want to live. She helped me find new pants. I feel like she should stay because when I had troubles at home, she helped me with that. And I talked to her and it got things off my mind. She helped me with my home life and my anxiety. Please let her stay, because if not, she can't help. In this folder, you will find their full letters. Our social workers have made such a positive impact in our schools. When money can be found to provide coaching for former superintendents, travel for administrators and central office employees to attend conferences outside of the state, and various other county endeavors, it is hard to swallow that funding cannot be found to keep essential workers. I implore you, on the behalf of students and families of Lincoln County, please reconsider terminating our school social workers. Thank you.
Grace Loring.
Dear Board of Education, our social workers should stay. It is not fair that these poor kids have to keep their feelings inside them. Sorry, excuse me. It is not fair that these poor kids have to keep their feelings inside them. I can't let them out. These social workers have been here for me during whenever I got hit by a car.
It's all right, sweetheart.
Sister, okay, so you're good, sister.
It's all right.
Thank you.
You're doing fine, honey.
Yes.
Take your time.
And they have helped our teachers, students, and staff members. Like one time I fell and broke the sole of my shoe, and it fell off. Miss Missy got me a new pair. It is so unfair that these staff members and students have to hide their feelings. Miss Missy and Miss Tammy helped kids who thought about suicide. They were there for me, for other kids, staff members, and these social workers should stay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you Allison?
Yes.
Allison Matlin, go ahead.
Okay.
That
Well, I'm
would be
gonna
a
try-
hard speaker to follow.
Absolutely. My name is Allison Madden, and as you can see, I have 2 girls at West Hamlin Elementary. And forgive me, I probably will get a bit emotional on you as well. But I'm here today as a concerned parent. I strongly urge you to reconsider taking social workers out of our school system. They are so important to our students. And I'm concerned for students that will fall through the cracks. 1 counselor per school, 2 days a week, that's not enough. These children need more. And I have, as you have heard her speak, she was involved in a very terrible accident last year, and we could have lost her. And she suffers from PTSD because of the accident. And Miss Missy and Miss Tammy, as soon as she came home from the hospital, they came to our home to visit her, to check on her, see if there was anything that she needed. And then any time that she needed to speak with them because she was feeling anxious and having anxiety about the trauma from the accident, all she had to do was tell them. And she would is so inviting. She gave us her personal phone number. She would let Grace come eat lunch with her. And then that is one instance. And she's always there anytime parents have questions, the children need to speak. And then a student came to one of my girls and said that she was being sexually abused in her home and she needed help to get out. So I immediately contacted the school, and Miss Missy immediately got a hold of me. And she started the process and just to get so I could tell her what had happened. She saved that little girl and countless other students. What's going to happen if you take the social workers out of the school? These children the teachers have so many students that they're looking after already. The counselors can't be there every single day. What about these students that are being abused at home? What are they going to do? Who are they going to go to? Children that go hungry. What about that? I just beg you to please reconsider taking social workers out of our school. They are so important to our students. Heard all of us speak. We can't speak highly enough of Miss Tammy. They're wonderful to the students. I mean, they're always there anytime any student needs anything. Please reconsider. I beg you. Our children deserve the best.
Thank you. Olivia Watson.
I will be reading a letter that was written on behalf of West Hamlin Elementary's Faculty Senate. When it comes to measuring future success in education and the possibility of becoming an effective, healthy, and productive member of society, it is a fact that we, as Lincoln Countyans in West Virginia, can be found near the bottom of nearly every list. We are living and working in a county within a state that consistently ranks the worst in the nation on any number of mental health risk factor metrics. As our population, county and state, continues to dwindle, we remain one of the poorest. We have more people on government assistance than most other states, maintaining one of the largest percentages of children being raised by grandparents or in foster care due to parental negligence or abuse or drug abuse. And we continue to witness a rise in numbers of babies born drug addicted or exposed. Drug and alcohol abuse seem to go hand in hand with poverty, to which we are no stranger. A training we recently had in our county gave us disparaging news that in Lincoln County, West Virginia, we are residing in the county with the highest rate in the state, in a state with one of the highest rates in the nation of babies born dependent on drugs. The reasons are many and the solutions seem not enough. For the last few years, Lincoln County has been fortunate enough to employ a full-time social worker for each of our schools. Our social workers go above and beyond the job descriptions daily, supporting not only our students, but their families and our whole school and community. Ask any staff member what a difference these compassionate, knowledgeable, and hardworking individuals has made. Ask any student what Miss Missy at West Hamlin Elementary means to them in our school. She has become more than a counselor, coworker, and friend. She is counted on to be an advocate, a remarkable resource, and a protector. To think of these students, many of whom have already lost so much, losing someone they have been brave enough to trust and count on is heartbreaking. As a staff throughout our county, we can all proudly say that we love our home. We want what is best for our communities. We love our students. We try to make a positive impact where we can, but the job these social workers do is irreplaceable. With the social climate such as it is today, here and throughout our nation, there could not be a worse time to lose this support system within our schools. As a staff who works daily to better the lives of our students and enrich the community we live in, we beg of you to reconsider the decision to do away with our school social workers that are so desperately needed. There has to be a solution. We owe it to our children to give them any opportunity to succeed and live healthier, safer lives. And that is the reason we must seek to find a way to keep our social workers at each school. Thank you for your consideration.
Pryor, am I pronouncing that right? Pryor Pauly?
Yes, very good.
My name is Brad Hall, and I am a student I'm speaking on behalf of Miss Kennedy Weed and Miss Kelly Cat. I want to start by saying how Miss Kennedy has helped my brother get through school, and she has just helped everybody I know. Social workers are needed in schools, everywhere. Not everyone wants to come to school because sometimes they have problems at home or school that affects their school. Social workers help them work through those problems by giving them a safe place to talk to. A safe person. I have sat in the cafeteria and seen many students get up to go with Miss Cat, our social worker. They go to talk about things that they need to help with or that they don't understand. I have seen those students' attendance improve because of this. I've seen people change and be happier because of this. It gives them something to look forward to. Can talk to social workers about suicide. And I think this saves lives because it gives them someone who cares. Please find a way to keep our social workers. They matter to us.
Thank you.
And we'll go back to Pam Dice.
For those that don't know me, I'm Pam Dice. I've been a school nurse since 1982 in Lincoln County. Took a 10-year leave and came back. But let's look back to 1982. Okay, I was the only nurse in the county for 22 schools. And at that point, I thought, what am I going to do? You know, I didn't have enough to do, or I didn't know what to do. Through the years, I've seen school nurses have been very important, but we had to take on the role of social workers. We had to make home visits. We had to feed. We went out to 10 Mile, remember that time, in the back of a pickup truck with Butch Casey. But we did what we could.
You did what you needed to do.
But we didn't have enough people to do what we needed to do. So when I left in 2010, I don't know how exactly long the social workers have been here. But when I came back from my retirement, I saw such a wonderful program with the social workers. Things that I was not able to do as a school nurse. Things that I couldn't counsel, couldn't do this. So I'm saying we don't need to go, and we've heard all the wonderful things that these people, I can't reiterate what they've done. But I want to say that we don't want to go back. We want to go forward. We don't want to go back to the way it was in 1982 when I was here and we had nobody to look to and whatever. We want teachers to teach. We want administrative people to do what they're supposed to do. Social workers have filled a need that our county, I was born in West Hamlin by Dr. McClellan. I might have lived in Cabell County most of my life, but when you say, where are you from, Pam Dice? I say Lincoln County, and I'm proud of it. And I want to continue to say that we just want to move forward and not backwards. And please don't take away our social workers. Our kids need them so bad.
Thank you, Pam.
Unless I've missed someone, that's all that signed in to speak. Well, I thank you all very much for coming, and obviously this, Ms. Hoover, are you here? She's not here.
No, she's not here.
I'd like to meet
I
this
would
person.
do that with.
You all think,
You know, we're tomorrow.
you all think a lot of her, obviously, she's doing a good job, but I thank you all for coming, and rest assured that the board will take into consideration all that you said and all the support that you've shown. And cuts are never easy. They're always horrible. Sometimes they're necessary, but rest assured that every member of this board and the superintendent will know that how much gravity is upon these decisions. And as I said, I can't speak to any issue tonight. As a matter of fact, the board doesn't even know who has been proposed to be cut yet. That's never been discussed with us. But when that time comes, we'll give it every consideration. So thank you all for coming, and we do appreciate you.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, we'll conduct other business. We have Mr. Nick Blair from talking about Hart's PK facilities, PK8.
I know that I got too hot on that. Now it feels good. I had to drink half a line because it was too hot. Me too. You're finding all those pretzels up the pressure. Problems.
Mr. Blair.
Sorry about that. I kind of got stuck in the
Yeah, I
back there. Took a
understand.
minute to clear out. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here tonight to talk to y'all about the sports facilities at Hart's. Unfortunately, Mother Nature has caused some havoc down there on part of our facilities and some other issues as well. Kind of speaking on behalf or prefacing what just went on with the social worker, we can also think about sports in the same way. Sports is a great emotional outlet for our students. A lot of our kids come from broken homes. I coach basketball and football, and a lot of our kids we have, that is their outlet. Kind of the only family they see is what we provide them with the sport facility. So, we need to look at providing safe and adequate facilities for our students. As most of y'all are probably aware, the roof at the old Hart's High School was blown off the gym. That was their locker rooms was housed in that gym. And I know the Board of Education pays a rental fee on that facility every year of, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's $10,000 they pay to the county commission to house our locker rooms there.
So the county commission owns that now?
The county commission owns the building as long as the building is used for community center. I actually have a copy of the deed.
But we still
Stupid
pay
question.
rent.
Stupid
Yes.
question, how much insurance did they have on the building to cover the loss?
So as of yesterday, I was informed by President Stowers of the county commission, they actually have zero insurance on that building. Just the best of his knowledge, he said, and from what he could find, there was no insurance.
Wait, stop right there. The county commission had zero insurance?
Yeah, he said to the best of his knowledge, from what he could dig around and find, as of yesterday, he was still looking to see, where he could go from there, but he told that, as far as he could find so far, there is no insurance on the building. We'll hopefully learn a little more at the commission meeting on Thursday.
This Thursday, Nick?
Yes, this Thursday. I'll also speak to them on this matter on the agenda there as well Thursday. I was told they had no insurance on the building as far as he could find so far. He said he was still digging, trying to find, so hopefully, we'll get a more concise answer to that, clear answer.
Will you let us know?
Thursday. Yeah, actually, I'd like to invite you all to come to that meeting Thursday.
Probably
I
you
think,
would want us to.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think that this is an issue that, most of y'all wasn't on the Board of Education, or none of y'all was actually when this deal was made with the community center and Board of Education, that property becoming county commission property. But I think, both entities are kind of at fault here for letting that building get into the shape it is, our locker rooms be in that building as well,
Did you happen to ask him what he did with the $10,000?
Well, they use that to pay the bills as far as I understand.
Well, they must have a
So-
hell of an electric bill.
It's a big building. They use it for the community center too. So you're all probably funding most of the community center as well as not only just locker rooms and the gym for usage there would be my guess. The Board of Education, I think, is probably their biggest income.
The board gave the sole technically to the county commission. The county commission in turn kind of leased it out to the Hart's Community Center. Is that kind of how that works?
Well, the deed, and to be honest with you, exactly how that worked, I don't know, but the deed says that the Board of Education sold it for $1 to the Lincoln County Commission for the sole purpose of providing a community center in Harts. And once there is no longer a community center provided at that building in Harts, then the property reverts back to ownership of the Lincoln County Board of Education.
We don't want it.
Well, by law, I think you gotta take it if they don't have a community
It's in the
center.
So
It's-
if there's
I think
no-
if
no
if
insurance
something
on the
happens with the
building.
community center, I think it's coming back to you whether you want it or not.
I haven't been down there, I just being honest, I just heard of it a few days ago. Is the roof blown off the gymnasium floor also?
Yeah, that's the roof that covers the whole
The whole
gym.
thing?
So the rubber, it's a rubber roof, the whole rubber's gone. I mean, I have pictures I can show you in a minute
So
on
the
my phone.
floor is ruined.
And then there was particle board under that that's also gone. I
That's an
think
expensive floor.
you've been down there and saw it, it's pretty,
I saw the roof from the outside, I got pictures of, I have not been inside yet.
yeah, I have pictures of the inside too. I mean, there's
Is-
pictures,
you know if the
there's
floor
holes
is
in the
ruined?
ceiling.
Is the floor ruined? The gym floor?
Not yet, but I mean, a couple storms, it's gonna be.
Do you have an alternative for the locker rooms? I'm assuming that you're talking for the
Football
middle
season.
school athletic programs. Do you have an alternative idea other than fixing that entire gym?
I do.
Okay.
I think, this is something we're gonna have to work together. And like I said, I think we need to work with the commission on this as well because, property wise, the board just don't own a lot of property there to put facilities, with what you own now, because of the community center there. But this is kind of time limited, so I haven't been able to do a lot of researching and a lot of quotes, but I did get quoted for a mobile locker room building there, for the tune of about $200,000. Unfortunately, I don't know, that's one price that I got. But I mean, we're gonna have to provide locker rooms somehow. We're looking at a facility down there that is the only facility in the county that houses a football, baseball, softball field all on one field anyway, which is, another issue all in itself. I mean, we are having to share softball, baseball, sharing a field. It's the only place in the county, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's my understanding that's the only facility in the county that shares that. So we've been kind of put on the back burner for a long time anyway with facilities there. So,
When was that
there's a
new
lot
school
of other
built
issues.
without all this stuff? When was the school built?
2012, I think, is when that
Yeah.
school opened.
And
Don't hold me to that, or
around that time.
2013. It's been there about 10 years now.
And there's nothing at all except
There was no
busy.
facilities. The only facilities built was the gym.
Yeah.
But obviously a school
Yeah.
the middle school has to be
Has to
built
have
with
a
a gym
field.
for
Yeah.
physical education
Right.
anyway. So that was the only facility that was
Is
built
there
with
property
the school.
down there where the school is?
There is minimal property, yes, on each end there, down by the playground on what would be the south end of the school. and
Is
then-
it
or
big
the
enough
north
to
end of
have the
school and south
facility
end.
you're thinking of that you would need for the kids?
No, not to do, you could put one field there, probably a softball field. Softball is the smallest field. There's probably enough room there to maybe put a softball field, but
Is
there's
there
nowhere
other
near.
people that own property that's around there that's not got anything on it?
No, most of the property there
Has-
is
has-
occupied,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, there's not a lot of vacant property there in that area. I mean,
So the immediate need right now,
the immediate need right now is we're gonna need locker rooms to have football in August. I mean, so we're gonna have to do something by then. Time is definitely of the essence, especially if we're having to look at bringing portables in. We're gonna have to plumb them. We're gonna have to, hook electric up, sewer, all that. So,
how
I
are you
mean,
managing softball and baseball right now?
so softball and baseball really don't require a locker room.
They just come with their
just,
uniforms on, don't they?
They
Yeah.
show up with their uniform on. They just basically truly require storage. I actually checked with most of the other teams in the county. Don't think most of our other facilities in the county, as far as softball, baseball, they don't have quote unquote locker rooms at those facilities. They just have some storage rooms or something. What's that?
Restrooms.
So there's restrooms attached to the concession stand, which is across the road
Okay,
from,
so you
that's
got
on the
that.
board property. There is a small male-female restroom there. But, our immediate need is, we're gonna have to do something with locker rooms there. I don't know what the answer is. I think this is something we're all gonna have to work together to come up with a solution for it. Like I said, I have one answer of a portable locker room. whether that's feasible or not, that's something for us to look at, but, I don't know that that is feasible with what we're doing. But like I said, there's tons of other issues, not just the locker room. We're looking at softball, baseball sharing. We have no permanent bleachers for football, no press box for football, which all the other schools in the county are afforded those luxuries that we're not. But currently locker rooms.
Team this past season, right?
We did. Our football team actually folded mid-season.
Okay, mid-season.
Yeah.
Because of players getting hurt or something?
Yeah, the numbers dwindled down to where they had 11 kids and they just didn't feel the need to go on with just 11. That's the exact number needed for a team. So, which currently right now we have 24 coming out for our weight room we're having. I actually have with me our head coach, Andy Bender, back here, and the guy in the yellow is on the agenda to be hired tonight as our assistant football coach. That's Mike Critchley.
Last year's not on me.
Yeah, this new hire.
You got to talk for him. He's not on the agenda. So.
Yeah, I just introduced him. But, like I said, our immediate need is definitely we need to look at doing something with locker rooms. And, I think we need to work with the commission on figuring out how we're going to do that because
Excuse me, is the rubber just blown off or is the roof blown off?
the rubber
Structure.
the rubber's blown off and the subroofing under the rubber is blown off. There is still a structure there, but there is two. So the layer of rubber is gone, and then there was a layer of particle board underneath that
Black insulation.
that is gone. And like I said, I have all pictures I can send to you or show you if you want to see it. I even have pictures from the inside where you can look up. It blew all the vent caps, different things that was on the roof, when those blew off. So there's holes, multiple holes in the roof that the gym's just exposed.
Yeah, it happened to my church too. So
Yeah,
probably.
That roof is rather large. Obviously most of y'all probably know the courthouse roof over here also has been leaking. So we kind of, my wife is county commissioner, so I kind of get privy to the information there too and see that. So, they had multiple bids come in on that thing to the tune of $400,000. This roof is probably larger than the courthouse roof with the shape it's in and stuff. So rubber roof are the same there. You're probably talking if they go to replace the roof, I would imagine to the same tune of $400,000 to do that. So I don't know.
I
We're
just
talking
find
about a
it
building from the
incredulous
50s.
that was not insurance on that building, which makes me think that the county commission probably owns McCorkle and Woodville, and
probably no insurance there.
probably no insurance on those as well.
Yeah,
I have no words for that, but
I agree. It's kind of shocking that you would think.
we
Nick, was there a cost for the inside? Did you look at the inside? What type of damage?
Is it damaged pretty bad?
So the inside isn't damaged yet. As far as
Basketball floor?
Huh?
Is the floor actually in jeopardy of being damaged?
Oh yeah, it'll be within the next couple of storms. Like I said, I think Gary was down there and seen the holes in the roof. The water is going to pour in there when it rains next time. Luckily, since the roof got blew off, we've not had really any rain because that windstorm happened. But it's coming. There's probably no way of fixing it before the rain comes. For sure, no way of really fixing it before the rain comes. It's going to happen.
And there's no insurance on it.
Like I said, that is what
What in the heck?
that's what I was told as of yesterday, that they could not find where they had an insurance policy on that. They said that they was still looking. Commissioner Stowers said he was still looking to confirm for sure that there was no insurance on that building. But to the best of his knowledge, as of yesterday, there was not a policy.
Nick,
That's
you
what
know
I was
I'm not
told.
gonna be mean, and I won't ever be mean to you, because Myra would kill me. But the other thing is, if they don't have enough sense to put insurance on it, why should the Board of Education put a new roof on it?
Well, I agree with
You know,
that. I'm
I
not saying the board should even look at putting. a
No,
new roof on
I
that.
think we
agree
need
with
to,
you
because our
there.
kids use it, but
I
for
think,
God's sake,
well,
we don't own it.
I think we need to look at an alternative means of providing
So
something
do-
for our students. I think
That's
we
it.
don't need to be looking at fixing.
At that building.
Yeah, we don't need to be looking at Band-Aiding something that's probably beyond the point of putting a Band-Aid on.
That's
We
exactly
probably
what
need to
I'm
look at
thinking.
coming up with something new. And
Okay,
We're gonna.
I needed you to tell me
yeah, I
that.
think, that's my personal opinion. I don't know, and I don't know what financial wise and stuff that you guys have, or, and I think we could probably get some help from the commission on this. I'm gonna ask for it Thursday night. But I think that's something we're gonna have to work out together,
I do
especially.
too.
Nick, if we, I'm picturing that Hart School in my mind. It's been many years since I've been in it.
Yeah.
But excluding the gym, the existing part of the building where the classrooms were, how much effort would it take to take a couple of those classrooms and make locker rooms?
To be honest with you, I haven't been in there in quite some time, so I can't speak to that side of the building.
It's pretty bad.
And I don't
Yeah.
know.
It's pretty bad.
Jerry, have you been in
Jerry
there?
could probably, maybe not. Yeah, I was gonna say, maybe Jerry's been in there. I know he's been up there some lately, so I don't
I've
know.
been to the restaurant part of it many years ago.
Yeah, I've not been in the community center part in quite some time, but the last time I was in it, it's
The
in
ones
pretty,
down on the
pretty
first
poor
floor.
disrepair.
Yeah.
Do you know if the commission has brim insurance?
Yeah. Yeah, that's who the commission holds as brim as, well, that's who they help for the courthouse, when the roof, that's who they turn the courthouse roof into. So I assume that's an umbrella policy for them, but apparently that wasn't on the policy from what I was told. So.
Nick, we
I don't know.
will talk about it, and obviously we have to have some contact with the county commission and
Right.
do various things.
So
On a technical sense, we have no involvement in the property technically, but we do have an obligation to provide those facilities
For those
for our
students.
sports programs. So we're going to have to be working and talking with
David-
different entities here.
David, I'm wondering if we couldn't rent facilities.
and you know, that's also,
Portable to pull in there.
that's also an
In the
option.
time being, and that way we don't kick this can down the road for 6
So-
or 8 months and the county commission come back finally and say, well, sorry, we don't
can't
have
do it.
anything, you know, and then our kids are
Stuck.
Yeah, and
out in
that
the cold,
was,
literally out in the cold.
Yeah.
that was
I
also,
would like to suggest to the superintendent that she talk with Mr. Cremines, the maintenance director, and
Make a trip
they
up
can
there,
take a
maybe.
visit up there and see if there's something that we can temporarily put together to satisfy the needs, what the possibilities might be.
Of anything,
Of
building
anything.
up there that we
Whether it's
get
the old building, whether
immediately,
it's-
if we've got a.
We have a 30 by 50 building already there.
The police have been it for a
We
while.
have a
Has two
30 by
rooms in it.
50.
30 by 18 and 30 by 30 inside.
Do we own that?
It's ours.
Yeah.
It's
And then it has storage over top.
What
Is that the
are we
old
doing
vocational
with that
school?
right now?
It's bus lounge, and then the back half of it, the coaches are using it.
How
Yeah,
much,
one side
take
is
a
a
look at
storage
that and see
room,
what
and
it
the other
would take to
side is the
renovate
bus
it into
garage.
lockers.
Nick, if we renovated that into locker, would that
I'm just not sure.
temporarily fill?
Temporarily, I think it would, but I'm not sure the size of it
Would
would
be big enough.
be big enough. And plus, you know, you're looking, we don't have showers and there's only one bathroom in there. So we would have to really do a huge remodel to that building to bring it up to snuff for what we need for locker rooms. And I think that's gonna run into a cost. And then again, once we do that, we're not gonna have any storage facilities whatsoever there because that one office we use for storage of all of our equipment.
There's storage upstairs in that, did you know?
There is, but I mean, I'm talking about 50 pounds bags of sand for the baseball field and stuff like that. I'm not sure we can take all that upstairs. I mean, they store all that kind of stuff, you know, the
I'm just wondering,
turbos,
I'm
the
just
field
wondering
dry.
what an addition to that with a metal building, that we can put up at a reasonable price. And,
Yeah,
but
like-
right now, if we could use, if Jerry, as David said, could go up there and look at that building, see if we can modify Coach enough to where you guys can at least get through the season and then go from there with
Yeah.
the metal building to add on to that, since it is ours,
Right, yeah.
you know.
That's what I said. I
And
think,
then
you know,
we're gonna be
there's
looking-
lots of options we can come
Right.
up with and figure out.
We're gonna be looking at the cost to tear that thing down, because I guarantee if the county don't have insurance on it, it's gonna be on us.
And we don't need that.
Yeah,
I put it in new.
I agree.
Put it in new facilities for them rather than fixing the old one up.
And so that also brings the question, you know, if you guys are paying rent on this facility now, is this board going to continue to pay rent on a facility that the students
No.
aren't able to
No.
use currently?
No,
So
we mentioned that last meeting.
I'm not releasing a check.
I think that's the other
We
issue
mentioned that
there.
the last meeting, that
Yeah,
we're
and I
not
think, you know,
releasing the
that's-
next penny until we have
Yeah.
somewhere to.
Yeah.
And I
And
think
use
that's-
it until we
that's
can
right.
You
use
know,
it.
that's something we
It's
need to bring to the
usable.
commission.
It's a breach of contract.
Yes, it
basically.
is.
Yeah,
When
absolutely.
we can't use the facility, the contract's been
And
breached, so
continue to
it's
pay rent.
terminated.
I-
and
I
the
think
money's
it's,
terminated.
That's
Yeah.
something we need to bring to the commission to see what their plan is going forward. I mean, honestly, if you guys aren't giving them money, are they gonna keep
Right.
trying to keep the building open, or is it going to end up being your all's building again?
Well,
I think that's the next
I don't
question.
believe we
I
want
don't
it.
foresee any way that we could restore that gym
No.
and keep that.
Oh, no, I agree with that. I think ultimately, I think the property is going to end up back to you.
Probably wind
What
up
we
in
do with
court
it after
somewhere with
that.
this. I don't know.
What we
who
do
will
with it
fight.
after that, I don't know, but I think in the end, the property is going to end up being property of Lincoln County Board of Education again, and then we're
I
going to
would
have
think we'd probably go to court and fight that one out. I can't imagine somebody writing
got a
up a deed or
contract.
a
It doesn't matter how
contract
many
to that
times you go to
extent. I mean,
court.
Yeah,
that's just,
I have a copy of the deed if you want me to send it over to you. It's pretty clear that
If you
as long
read
as
the
there's no
deed and
longer.
it says what you just said, you go to court all you want.
Yeah, it's pretty
You
clear
still
that as long as
alternate
there's not a
back to-
community center there, it alternates back to the Lincoln
Yeah,
County
it
Board of
probably
Education.
does.
I mean, it
I bet that's what.
It was
the
signed,
contract
it was
says.
not
signed
being
by
critical, but it
Patricia
seems like
Lucas, I
a
think,
child
actually,
wrote
who
that
signed
thing
it. I
up.
think she was superintendent at the time. So, but
Well,
I appreciate your all's time,
We'll get
appreciate
back
your
with you.
effort. You know, if there's anything you guys need, you know how to get a hold of
Do
me,
you
most of
have,
you
do
do.
you
If
have one
not,
of the deeds?
I have a copy on my phone. I could send it over
No,
to
I
you
tell
or
you what, sometime.
send it to somebody that can print.
Okay, all right. I didn't know we
Okay.
had one here.
Yeah.
We'll get back with
So,
you next
yeah,
week.
if there's anything I can do or, you know, meet you up there, we can look around. These guys are more than happy to help any way we can, you know, try to figure this out, but I appreciate your all's time.
Same here.
Thank y'all.
Thank you guys
Thank you.
for coming tonight.
Rhonda Kersey, 21st Century Grant. Can you pull that microphone down?
Oh, hello, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Dr. Rhonda Kersey. I am currently the coordinator for 21st Century Programs. I wear many hats around here, but the 21st Century Programs are my baby. And per the Elementary and Secondary Education Act and Title IV Part B, the criteria states that for any grants that we apply for through them, we have to make a public announcement. Now, Project Pride is what we call our after-school programs, is currently in 2 sites. We are looking to apply for 3 sites on one grant and 3 sites another grant. We can only apply for 2 grants. However, we can only have 2 grants in the county, which means that if we get another grant, then we will only have 2, because we do currently have grants in progress right now at sites for Duval and Harts. We'll be asking for the full funding amount for each grant of $250,000 with a $10,000 stipend for transportation. Now, this is a competitive grant and it operates on a rubric point system as well as priority points. Priority points will be only given to the schools that offer STEM, offer Title I schools, a geographical designation, which we do not fall for or fall within that category because they provide the designation each time these grants come up. And they're right now for grants to go to those students, those counties that have not had a program or has been a while since a program has been offered within their county.
Has it been a while for us?
Oh, no, honey, we have been in operation since 2004.
Okay, so it's pretty
Yeah.
new.
We've had programs in every one of the schools at any given time, just not all at the same time. Right now, we have 4 sites, 2 through the 21st Century and 2 through ESSER funding. And that's at the high school and West Hamlin. Now, good thing is that if we do get another grant, we won't have to apply again for another 5 years, which that helps out because it's grant season and we are quite busy writing all these grants. A needs survey has been entered into Qualtrics. Qualtrics is a survey program that offers free services to just about anybody, and I use that quite often for my research. So that has been entered and it will go on all the social media sites for each of the schools that we will be applying for, as well as the 21st Century media site. That's it. There's my announcement.
Dr. Kersey, are you the grant writer for Lincoln County Schools?
I write a lot of grants for Lincoln County Schools, yes. I'm not designated as the grant writer, but I do write a lot of grants.
Okay. Do we have a designated grant writer for the schools?
Mm-mm.
United States Department of Agriculture, Rural Development.
Mhm.
They fund a lot of stuff.
Yes.
And I had spoken with Mr. Kelly about using that, getting someone to write a grant to fund our athletic facilities and to expand it for a rural development project of getting a recreational center and a swimming pool at the high school over there. I suspect that probably nothing has happened on that.
Not that I'm aware of.
If you would not mind, I would like for you to look into that. Rural development has lots of money, the Department of Agriculture.
Yes,
And
we had a restaurant 4 years ago through the rural department.
The idea behind that is that Lincoln County needs to be a bedroom community for Huntington and Charleston. We don't have the topography for industry to be here. We don't have the infrastructure for industry. But if we became a bedroom community, we would hopefully attract young people with our recreational facilities. That's where the swimming pool and the recreational facility comes in, tied to the high school. When we do that, hopefully young people who are into recreation would be here and start having babies, and their attendance goes up and things look a whole lot better. That I feel is a key for Lincoln County. That's a key grant if you could get that one going on. I've spoken to Mr. Snyder had got an appointment for me, and I've spoken to the primary care, I forget what the actual official name is.
CEO Lisa.
Yeah, and met with the CEO, and she's very interested in it. She just wants a program written up. She would obviously can't fund the entire thing, but she would be a partner in that with us. So if you'd be kind enough to look into that, and if you have any, want to talk about it with me, just give me a call. And I think there's funding opportunities there, I think.
Yes.
But we need somebody to write those grants. And I've written grants in the past, but I don't want to do it anymore.
Right now, we have a grant that I'm working on for the COPS, from the COPS program. That's for hiring SROs and PROs in the school systems. And I'm looking at this grant here. And there's also a grant for $1.8 million called Project Aware that I've talked with Ms. Shortridge and a couple of the principals. We're going to try working together. And that is for mental health awareness for social workers.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Curtis.
All right, super.
All right, move on to item 4, approval minutes of the March 28th meeting. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Burns, second. Wilson, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, it's unanimous. Under the administrative portion, I'd like to strike item A, the MOA with Mission West Virginia and Partners. I asked Superintendent Earling to have someone here to talk to us about that, this program, and they couldn't make it for tonight. So we'll table this with pleasure of the board. Motion and second to table.
Make a motion to table.
I'll second.
Story, Burns.
I think we have to take up the agenda item first, Dave.
Oh, the whole
Sorry.
thing?
We have to take up the agenda item first. We have to motion second to look at the administrative
yeah.
piece first.
Yeah, that's
Make a
another
motion
thing.
that we take up the
We need to
agenda.
talk about changing this.
Yeah.
You know, our format for the agenda doesn't flow right, so we need to talk about that.
Second.
Motion to discuss. Pistori.
Pistori.
Second.
I second.
Snyder seconds. All right. Motion to table item A.
Mm-hmm.
So moved.
Wilson.
Second.
Snyder. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Brings us to item B and C that we tabled last week. Service personnel or summer service extracurricular position lubrication man. We've been 3 weeks on this right now. I have come to the conclusion for myself what I want to do with this, but I want to hear from you all as well.
I've talked to some people who are mechanics. I've talked to some people who are bus mechanics. And I've talked to some people who were bus directors. And it's their opinion that if you have an average mechanic, they can service 3 buses a day. If you have a good mechanic, they could service 5 buses a day in an 8-hour shift. So seeing that we don't have a total of 3 mechanics that are actually working, we have one who has workers' comp issues. So we do have 2 that are working. And I'm understanding that they're summer employees also.
Summer, it says.
And let's give them even the minimum of 3 each. So you're talking about 6 buses a day that they can service, changing oil, lubricate, and all that. 6 buses a day would take them literally 2 5-day weeks to service every bus that we have and then some. 60 buses.
And they're not gonna be used
And they're
very
not gonna
much
be
this
used
summer.
during the summer.
Yeah.
So it's my understanding after talking to these mechanics that we really shouldn't need lubrication folks. I mean, I think it's a luxury if we had, but it'd be luxury to have 3 actual mechanics that worked.
Right now with the things we've got looking at us.
And we're looking at, at cuts.
Tough cuts. I just don't
Evidently,
think
Mr.
we ought to.
Brumfield,
Yeah.
we're looking at cutting personnel.
And
I
not
don't think-
right.
I don't think it would send the right signal
Not right
to the
now.
county right now.
I agree, Jody.
If we put on another one when we have 2, that maybe we can encourage to work a little harder, or I don't know what the terminology would be, can encourage to do the job that's set
Well, this
before
is just not the right time to do this. We just don't need to be hiring right now because we're looking at a lot of people that it's gonna be tough on.
So
to
I
let
would
go.
make the motion not to hire anyone for this position this summer and actually ask the bus director to make a maintenance schedule for your 2 mechanics that are working physically.
To cover every.
To cover every bus this summer.
So you've made a motion to deny the creation and posting of the summer service lube person.
Yes, sir.
All right, do I have a
B
second?
and C.
Do I have a second?
That
Second.
covers B and C.
Burns. All right, we've had a motion, a second, to deny the creation and posting the summer service extracurricular position called lubrication man. All those in favor of denying it, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And it's unanimous. That position is denied. Item D, approval of pilot program with Green Mountain Motor Company to furnish no-cost Lincoln County Schools electric bus for part of the evaluation. Do I have a motion?
Motion to discuss, yes.
Well, we've already discussed it.
Okay, well.
So, I'm going individual item again. That's where we got to redo this agenda.
Yeah. We need to make a second.
All right, if not, we had a motion to discuss it. Do I have a motion to approve the administrative items?
Can we have a little
D.
more time to think about this and discuss it among ourselves?
The
Before-
pilot program?
Yeah.
The status of this pilot program is, Mr. Nelson was here last week and
Yeah.
he's here today.
Well, we have it on the
Nestling.
agenda this time, and we can actually
We
vote on
couldn't
it.
talk about it
And-
last week because.
And honestly,
Okay.
I felt terrible because I was blindsided with it. That's the
Well,
first I'd ever heard.
all of us were, I think,
So-
Well, but the
If-
bus
if
is
you-
no
if
longer
you-
available.
Okay,
Oh,
well, I was
well,
gonna
that's
say
a
if it's
moot
available,
point.
we'll take it, but
It's-
since it's not,
It's no longer
Okay.
available now,
All
but
right.
this motion on here is to express support for this program if it
If
should
it
be
comes-
offered again.
Okay.
I make a motion to support the program if it indeed
If-
comes again.
Yeah.
However, I would request that the bus director as well as the superintendent not blindside us with something and say it's coming and we didn't vote on it. That was my beef. It wasn't the bus. It was, I thought, and I apologize publicly. I thought you were coming and telling us, you're gonna take this bus, we've already voted, and I'm like, well, who the heck from the State Department is gonna tell us we're gonna take it? You understand where we're coming from, and we were just blindsided with it. So I would ask, respectively, ma'am, if something's coming forward, the board, make sure that, the sitting superintendent and especially the president of the board knows about it before we hit with it. Because that was the big surprise. That was just that was an overwhelming surprise for me last week.
Okay, who made the motion? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Mrs. Stone and I have talked about that
Okay.
and the communication.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was a
There
communication
was a
issue.
communication breakdown,
Right.
so we are.
And that's not the first time. That's the reason I'm pointing it out. That was the second time.
We're gonna do that.
Yeah, appreciate that.
So,
So there was history. It doesn't have anything to do with you. There's history behind that, sir.
who
Just
made the
letting you know.
motion to
Make a
support this
motion that we
program?
support it.
Did you made the motion that
Absolutely,
we
yes, sir.
support the program if it's
second.
offered again?
I second.
And Wilson,
Yes.
all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? And it's unanimous. Under item 6, finance, have a motion to second to discuss the finance as presented.
So moved.
Snyder,
Second.
Wilson. Do we have any discussion? So this clearly shows me where we have to do this agenda. See, we have a motion and a second to discuss.
Yeah.
But
We don't have one to
we don't have a
approve.
motion, a second to
Approve.
Yes,
approve it.
yes.
So we have to actually redo the wording on this.
Yes.
Anyway, all those in favor of the item 6, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, it's unanimous. Brings us to personnel, motion and second to discuss personnel items.
Attachment.
So moved.
Wilson,
I'll second it.
Burns, any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, it's unanimous. Brings us to the comments and concerns. Anyone have comments and concerns?
I just looking for an update on our construction projects, kind of where we at.
Ms. Erling sent an update on the email on the Duval project. I don't know,
Austin.
Austin, do you have an update other than what you told us last week?
I've got Thrasher, the engineering crew, the field turf contractor, and I believe the bleacher crew are gonna show up on the 11th for a walk around over at the high school and meet with Mr. Cremains and kind of boots on the ground. They've sent electrical contractors over there to take a look. As I mentioned last week, we're just trying to push for Thrasher to help get field turf here quicker because they're working in Elkview right now. And we're hoping that we can, I'm sure they're staying in Charleston somewhere. We're hoping that since it's so close, they can schedule that work sooner rather than later.
Do you have any idea how far along they are on Herbert Hoover project?
It's coming to a close.
Oh, good.
I think the school's supposed to be open in August when school starts.
Good. That'll benefit us.
So we'll know more after the 11th.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. No, I'm just, if you all allow me for a few minutes. When I was campaigning for this office last year, I was vocal about practice that this school system was doing, was publishing student rank order results from the iReady test. Old people like me and Butchie, who grew up with student privacy, had it hammered in our head.
Yeah.
May have a different view. And Dana was on the tail end of that, so I don't know what Dana did during his realm, but I would suspect it wasn't a lot different than what Butchie and I faced. I've met with the former superintendent a couple of times and told him my position that student data is privileged and it's we've got to safeguard that privacy.
Yes, we do.
February the 10th, Mr. Kelly sent us, all of us, an email, all the board members, with an update, talking about the iReady results were there and where they recognized students by rank, top 10 in county in proficiency and growth. And says we're in the process of publishing that list now. If you have any follow-up questions, let me know. I responded to him and sent all of you board members a copy that said, Mr. Kelly, I was surprised to see on the update that publishing iReady scores had once again reared its head. I'm puzzled why we should consider publishing student scores by rank order beneficial to anyone. I think two things should take place to put this issue behind us. First, the person in charge of FERPA, that's the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, federal law. That person in charge of the State Department of Education should give us a letter clearly stating that listing student scores by rank order is permissible. It must be in writing as protection for all of us. Secondly, for a matter of this importance, I believe the board needs to vote on a policy allowing release of student scores in rank order. After you get the WBDE letter, we can put it on the agenda. I never heard anything else regarding that, but I was surprised to see a full-page ad in the Lincoln Journal this week, especially since I've been such a critic. My name is right on the top.
I was not surprised. I was aghast.
Mr. Kelly did get a letter back from a woman at the State Department who's the Director of Data Analysis and Research, Office of Data Management and Information Systems. I'm assuming she's the FERPA person.
Stacy Morrell's that the name?
Is her name David Stacy Morrell?
No, Georgia Hughes Webb.
Okay.
She says, greeting to Mr. Kelly, as we've discussed previously, I believe that this is a State Department lady. I believe that your recognition program for iReady achievement is in keeping with provisions of FERPA. FERPA allows schools and districts to release information that is properly designated as directory information pursuant to local policies. That's absolutely true. Local definitions of directory information routinely include student names, school attended, honors and awards received, among other items. Publishing the names of students achieving distinction on their iReady performance is similar to recognizing students via the honor roll based on student GPA or recognizing students who qualify on SAT scores for national merit. That's clearly wrong. I'll explain that in a minute.
I think so.
It's worth noting too that FERPA does not include any provisions that allow a parent or students to bring suit under that law. That's true. Of course, anyone can sue anyone for anything. However, there is no private cause of action under FERPA, meaning that there is no right to sue under FERPA. Further, the U.S. Supreme Court has previously ruled that parents cannot sue for damages to enforce provisions of FERPA. And ends the thing. I've given you all before that FERPA data, and you can get on the internet and find tons of it, where it specifically says not directory information, grades, grade results from exam scores. You can go through this hallway. This is now Duval Middle School. You will not find, I hope, a student or a teacher who has listed students in their class who scored on the top 10 of anything. We all know better than to put student rank order. Following this lady's logic, that you can rank the top 10 on grades, and it specifically says not grades. Why don't we rank the top 10 on the state and county testing that we do every year by grade. We don't even think about doing that.
No, never have.
Why do we not put in rank order ACT scores? We don't even think about doing that because it's an exam. Now, courts have ruled forever that honor rolls and the valedictorian, I don't know what you call that now, honor graduation things are perfectly legal. Courts have ruled on that over and over and over. The other thing that this lady fails to mention is that although parents can't sue, a complaint to the Department of Education can result in freezing of federal funds or completely losing your federal funds. Now, I don't think that's going to happen in this case. I don't think this rises to that level. But we're in a position where we, as a board, we protect student privacy. Now, these parents who had their kid's name in the paper are jubilant, I'm sure.
But what about everybody else?
But if they would think about it, the area we're talking about reading growth, if their kid finished first in reading growth, that means that kid did not score very well the first time around. So you're telling the public, hey, this kid didn't do very well.
The last time.
He did, yeah. You're also telling the parents, everybody that looks at this top 10 list will say, my kid's better than all those other kids. And you're also telling the parents by omission, whose name's not, kid's name's not on that list, that your kid is not any better than, is not as good as the other kids. For the life of me, I don't know why we want to publish student scores in rank order. We safeguard the privacy of students. We suspended an employee last fall who did a couple of things, but one of the things that she did was violate the privacy of students, of a student with other students. Told things about that student she should not have. We suspended that lady 20 days where she lost 10% of her yearly income, and we transferred her to another position. Now, that person, that employee, unwittingly and not intentionally violated that student's privacy. Here we have a county school system who willingly and knowingly violates the privacy by publishing results of a test, of an exam, when FERPA clearly says exams, you don't publish exams. I'm not talking about numerical score, rank order. I want to do this. I could be totally wrong and out in left field on this. I want to ask you board members to religiously and intently look at the FERPA law. It's 2 weeks before we have our next regularly scheduled board meeting. I ask that you research this yourself to see whether I'm right. I know I'm right, but I want you to be convinced that I'm right. And then we will have an item on the agenda to prohibit the publishing of student results in rank order. If the superintendent or the county wants to send the parent of John Doe a congratulations letter, your kid scored the highest in the county, that's great, that's perfectly permissible, but you don't publish that data.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
So I want that on the agenda the next time, and we will vote. If you honestly believe it's not a violation, then then vote against it. But if you believe that I'm right and that the privacy of students should be protected, I would ask you to vote for that. Now, we're big boys and girls, and we're not going to get mad and upset whichever way the vote goes, I promise you. But I want you to be convinced. I've been around too long to know that this is a clear violation of a student privacy. It's violation of FERPA. And most of all, what are we gaining from it as a school system by publishing this data? I was told, oh, kids get into competition with each other. No, I don't believe that. This doesn't happen often enough to be in competition with each other. This is something that we as administrators, and I say we as the county administration, we've got in their heads that this is something that makes us look good, and these parents are all happy. I guarantee you.
But what about the others?
They
2,000 that aren't?
They probably don't pay much attention to it.
Well, I think
but,
they're probably asking questions about.
But that's
what's
what we're here
going on.
for, to protect student privacy, one of the things. And I just feel strongly about this. I felt strongly about it last spring. I think, if not, let's publish, every time there's a math quiz, publish the top 10 kids, their names on the doors of the classrooms. Butchie will tell you when we started this thing and we went through the same in-services together, teachers were putting kid scores up on the wall and names on the wall, and that came to a screeching halt.
Yeah, spelling test.
Now,
Joe Blow 100,
Yep.
so and we just said, no more.
there is knowledge out among our people in the school system that that you don't do that.
No, you don't do that.
But as a county Board of Education, we've done it ourselves. And the second part of this, it won't be part of the thing, but I think the administration should be making sure that FERPA is a part of the in-service that at least administrators receive
All of our employees
every
do.
year.
All of our employees have
Every
the
year.
training every year.
Yeah.
It's required.
Who comes and does that, or do you all do it in-house?
is, it's virtual and they had to take a test.
You publish your results.
Well,
We're busy.
we do say who hasn't completed it yet.
Is it open all year long to take the FERPA training?
They complete it at the beginning of the year. There's a deadline and employees have to complete it by, all employees, everyone.
I would add one thing further to that. I would look outside the state for my FERPA in-service.
This is a national site that we work
Okay,
with.
yeah. So that's where we're at, and that's, I've preached my contention here. So I just ask that you four remaining board members look at FERPA. There's tons of stuff on FERPA.
Having said that, we represent Lincoln County and we can make Lincoln County policy.
You know, I have to tell you, after teaching special ed for a long time, at the same time teaching advanced college English at Marshall, that I've had a lot of students, and students who are young that we teach and we have in school, and I also taught special education for 15 years. You can't do this to young children as you can do to adults or even high school. It does something to their self-image of themselves. And if they are not on these particular things, they ask why and what's wrong with me. And in this day and time, and I'm not sure if we ever needed to do this. Now, honor rolls are fine because that's really up to you, and you can get on there and you can't. It's up to you. You work at that.
It's not one test.
And it isn't one test. It's 6 weeks or a semester. But this thing of a one-shot test, what if I'm sick that day and I'm very sensitive and I have a bad self-image and it just all blows up. What have I done to that child? What have I done to that spirit? And I don't think we need to be in that business. We need to hold them up. We need to rejoice with them in everything they do and every advance that they make. Because every one of us can't be 6'2". Those of us who are 5'6", you know, I'm sorry, that there's something wrong. We've got to stop doing that to kids.
Okay, anybody else have anything?
Yeah, just real quick, I'd like to publicly thank Jerry Cremines for all the work and help that he has put in over the ball fields for the Lincoln County Little League. Weather was bad Saturday and we didn't get to have opening day, but I was afforded the opportunity to play the first game on the baseball field yesterday with my minor B Lincoln County Red Sox. And we came away with the win, so that was even better. But I'm glad to have Little League back in Lincoln County. It's going to do nothing but help the baseball program all the way up, and I just appreciate the work that you put in and help us get it to
do as well. I got a real thrill out of seeing the video of those little fellas down the first base line and down the third base line, and the national anthem being played for them just like they were in a real big ballpark. And that's first-class organization going on over there right now, and there's bugs to be worked out, but they couldn't do it without the help that you've shown and other people, Danny Clayton, and a lot of you volunteers that made that happen. That's what Little League's about, volunteers. And although it's not, the whole field is not Little League, you've got the high school field back going and got the girls softball thing going. It looks good. It's a community center. And I thank you for all you've done.
I also think we need to play day for all that work that happened at Hammond over the spring break.
Yes.
That fallen in.
Yeah, the roof falling in.
They fixed that in a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty phenomenal.
Oddly enough, I took credit for that when I shouldn't have. I was having breakfast down at Tudor's, and on my way to breakfast, there was a crane out there putting stuff on the roof. I didn't even know it had gone off. And my buddy said, "Boy, you're really on top of that." And I said, "Yeah, thank you."
Thank you, I appreciate it.
I don't know how you got on it that quick.
Well, Jerry wasn't
Great
in the
job.
wind.
Great job. All right, anybody got anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
This meeting is adjourned.
There's your handy dandy little box.